It is on Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today we're going to be talking about Lightyear, and before we do, might as well say this now. As you know, past few videos I've been having this cough. Well, yesterday I found out that I tested positive for COVID. Yeah. Um, So that's not great. It sucks quite a bit, but I didn't get a serious case. It's more of like a mild case. It's the equivalent of uh, a really bad cold. And I've had bad colds before, so this is nothing new to me. Um, so yeah, that's what I've been dealing with last few days. So I have I got my test yesterday, so 5 days until I guess I can really do anything. So, yeah, just want to let you know why I have this cough now. So, why I still have it. So, yeah, but I can still make videos. Doesn't require a whole lot of physical effort. So, I still do that. So, yeah, just want to give you like an update on the my coughing situation. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros: Lightyear is a Pixar movie. I mean, do I need to say more? I mean, Pixar kind of speaks for itself. I mean, one could argue they are like they are the animation studio. I mean, like, well, I guess except Disney, but Pixar is right up there. And for the past how long they I think it's been they started in 95. So nearly 30 years? Yeah. Yeah. Nearly 30 years they have made some of the most acclaimed animated works of all time. Movies that are beloved by millions and millions and millions of people. I mean, we're talking Bugs Life, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Ratatouille, Wall-E, Up, Inside Out, Coco, Soul, and of course, and I'd be remiss if I ignore the Toy Story movies, which is how Pixar began. Like Toy Story changed everything. It was the first computer generated animated film ever. It because of Toy Story and success, within a few years, everybody started making CGI animated movies. DreamWorks did it. DreamWorks started doing it. How Disney eventually did it. Like there was a big shift between going from 2D to 3D, and Pixar really started that shift. So yeah, and Toy Story, which is what Lightyear is part of, because spinoff. Yeah, Toy Story, the first one, instant classic, made over $300 million, massive success. Toy Story 2, despite that movie was originally supposed to be directed DVD, but they changed it last minute. It was a whole nightmare, but the movie turned out to be just as good as the first, made more money. Uh, then 11 years later, we got Toy Story 3. And because of all that hype and anticipation, it was at the time Pixar's biggest movie, opening up to over $110 million, making 400 million domestic and over a billion worldwide. This was back when $1 billion, was a lot more rare than it is. Well, I guess one could argue it's rare now because of COVID, but yeah, back in 2010, only a few movies got to $1 billion. Then within a few years, that goal got easier and easier and easier. So, thanks to the overseas market. And then 9 years later, we have Toy Story 4, which did literally the same as 3, which is surprising considering how people thought, oh, this series should have ended with 3. It would have been fine. 4 is too much. 4 made 434 million domestic, over a billion worldwide. So it makes sense to keep going, right? It makes financial sense. Maybe not so much creative sense, but financially, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Why they want to make more. And sure, Pixar has had some underwhelmers, especially recently. And I'll get to all that when we get to the cons. But for the most part, Pixar's reputation is pretty stellar. So yeah, that's an easy pro. And then another pro, I already mentioned Toy Story, so let's talk about that. Toy Story mentioned, the series that, you know, Pixar is their main series. It's like their original series. And I already mentioned, first Toy Story movie was a big success. Two was a success. Third and fourth were massive successes, $1 billion successes. And all were very well received. Although I have not seen Toy Story 4, I heard it's worse, although I expected it to be worse than the first three. But I heard it's not like a terrible movie. So I haven't seen it. I might watch it soon, maybe. I mean, I have Disney Plus. I can literally watch it whenever I want. Um, so yeah, but the Toy Story series Toy Story is a very, very strong brand. One of the strongest brands in all of animation. One more consistent brands in animation. I mean, we can look at other animated, animated franchises. Usually, they take a real dip when it comes to either box office or quality. I mean, you can say that about Shrek, Ice Age. Trying to think of some others off the top of my head. Those are like the main two. Despicable Me still doing fine. Although we'll see what happens with Minions 2 in like 2 weeks. Um, any others? Trying to think. Cars, I guess. That took a bad turn. Although it didn't really start out that great either. Um, anything else I can think of? Well, Madagascar did fine until Penguins spinoff, despite being good, crashed the franchise. Uh, How to Train Your Dragon, Kung Fu Panda, they did okay, although they did take a dip box office wise. But Toy Story, they're doing great ever since the first movie. So that's a pro. The Toy Story brand, which is obviously associated with Pixar. So both of those things are pros. So that's pro number one and two. Pro number three. This movie is a bit of an event because this is the first theatrical Pixar movie in 2 years. Although I really would be more accurate in a way to say that in like 3 years, because obviously Toy Story 4 got a full on release, had a complete run. Onward had 2 weeks until COVID murdered it. So that's not really fair. But yeah, it's been, and obviously I've talked about what happened to the other Pixar movies since Onward. Soul, Luca, Turning Red all went to Disney Plus, which on one hand, I understand why they did that. Doesn't mean it's not shitty, especially to the artist. Like, that really stings for the artist, but yeah, so all three of those movies went to Disney Plus. This is theatrical only. No Disney Plus shenanigans going on here. So that gives it a bit of an event status. So that's a pro. Being Pixar's first theatrical movie in 2 years. And why would they put this on Disney Plus? It's part of the Toy Story brand. That'd be ridiculous. That'd be like Marvel. That'd be like Marvel releasing Doctor Strange 2 on Disney Plus and only Disney Plus. That's just ludicrous. Why would they do that? So, yeah, that's the third pro. First theatrical Pixar movie in 2 years. Um, Another pro. There's no competition really right now. I mean, the only real like direct competition is like the bad guys. That's been out since April. That's 2 months. That movie's likely gonna get killed by this. And the next anime movie coming out is gonna be Minions 2, and that's not till 2 weeks. So this has time. It has time to make some cash. Although there is still Jurassic World Dominion that's still out there, and I'll mention that when we get to the cons. But when it comes to direct competition, there isn't anything until Minions 2. So it has that advantage. So that's a pro. Another pro is that Sunday, and I guess Monday too, it's a double holiday. We got Father's Day this Sunday, and we got Juneteenth, which is a federal holiday, which will go into effect on Monday. So those two holidays combined can mean great things for not just this movie, but any movie's box office. Especially for like male orientated movies on Father's Day, that's a gold mine for them. It's like what happens when you have a female orientated movie, being released around Mother's Day. It does wonders to a movie's box office. And I feel like this movie might, do great. Although it is dealing with Jurassic World Dominion and Top Gun Maverick, both of those obviously being very male centric franchise films. And this is too. So there's a chance all three movies could cannibalize each other. I don't know. But those two holidays should help this movie out. At least a little bit. So that's a pro. Another pro, reviews. They're good, but they're not amazing. They're not at the level, definitely not the level of Toy Story. Like those movies, like their reviews, they're like in the high 90s. This is at 79%, which is quite a bit lower. I think it's on par with like Brave, Monsters University, about on par with those, which isn't a terrible thing. But it's definitely a bit on the lower end of the spectrum when it comes to, you know, Pixar's critical track record. I mean, at least it's not Cars 2. Okay, it's not that. But I mean, it's solid and audience score seems to be okay too. So that's a pro, I guess. Not a very strong pro, but a pro nonetheless. mm. I guess I can mention the voice cast, but when it comes to like animated movies, it doesn't really matter all that much. I mean, I know DreamWorks used to do this all the time where they highlight celebrity voices. I might as well mention this. Buzz in this movie is voiced by Chris Evans, which definitely shocked some people because Buzz has been voiced by Tim Allen since the very first movie. So people are like, "What the heck, Disney? Did you cancel Tim Allen?" No, that's not what happened. Tim still has a decent relationship with Disney because they're doing like that Santa Claus like show on Disney Plus. So they're clearly not on bad terms. But considering how this movie is about, it's a weird plot. This is not about the toy Buzz Lightyear. It's about the human behind the toy. So the toy is based off a real like space ranger, being Buzz Lightyear. So the chances of the human and the toy sounding exactly alike are not very high when you realistically think about it. So I don't see what the big deal is about that. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna have much of an effect on this movie. So I'm not gonna label it as a pro or a con. Okay. So cons. The idea of this movie is really weird to me. I think it's weird to a lot of people because people thought, oh, Toy Story 4 was super unnecessary, and it was, but a, a spin-off about Buzz Lightyear, that just kind of screams like, it screams, what's the word I'm looking for? It screams cash grab. There we go. It definitely screams cash grab to me. And it doesn't feel like it needed to be made. It didn't feel like the story needed to be told. Even though, yes, I know there was a Buzz Lightyear show many years ago, and I think it's on Disney Plus. I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, like just a whole movie about this. I don't know. Seems unnecessary. So that's a bit of a con. Another con is that this is a spin-off. Historically speaking, spin-offs don't do as well as mainline entries. I mean, there are a few exceptions to this rule. Rogue One made $1 billion. X-Men Origins Wolverine, despite being absolute trash, did about as well as some of the other X-Men movies when it was released. Trying to think of some other. I guess Deadpool's a spinoff. That did better than any X-Men movie ever made. But with other spin-offs, like people just like, why do this? Like, trying to think of some off the top of my head. I guess Penguins of Madagascar, that's a good example. That movie nearly tanked DreamWorks. So that's a good example. Puss in Boots did fine, albeit not as strong as other Shrek movies, even though it is getting a sequel this year. So there's that. Um, and any others I could think of automatically that relate to this. Minions was a massive success, $1 billion success, unfortunately. um, any others? It's hard to think of some right now, but making a spin-off is very risky because people are more invested in the main installments because that's like where the real story is. No one really cares about a side story about one particular character all that much. And yeah, so yeah, that's a con. This being a spin-off and spin-offs not having the greatest track record when it comes to success. So that's con number 2. Con number 3, uh although this movie doesn't have any direct competition, there is Jurassic World Dominion, which made a lot of money last weekend. It might take a tumble this weekend, but it's still gonna go up against this. Not to mention Top Gun Maverick, which is making stupid money. That's still gonna be a threat, and all three of these movies are just gonna be fighting amongst each other this weekend, which is good. We need more big movies in the marketplace. That's never a bad thing, but there's also the danger of cannibalization. Although Top Gun Maverick does skew quite a bit older than Lightyear and Dominion. But still, these three movies going head to head, someone's going to get hurt. And Lightyear might get hurt a little bit. So that's a con. And I already mentioned Minions 2 coming out in 2 weeks. That might hurt this movie. Although that will be 4th of July weekend. So that might actually, it won't sting so bad. It won't sting too bad. So, but still, it's gonna hurt. So just competition between Dominion, Top Gun Maverick, next week should be fine because it's not super serious, and Minions 2 later on. Those are all problems, and I will label all that competition as a con. Another con is Pixar's track record the last decade. It has not been all that good, really. It's been very inconsistent. I mean, look at the track record. Start from 95. You have Toy Story, Bugs Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, Incredibles, Cars, which was their first meh movie, but it was still okay. Ratatouille, Wall-E, Up, Toy Story 3. Everything was going great. They had a fantastic, nearly flawless track record. And then Cars 2 fucked that up, and yeah. I don't need to explain Cars 2. I've never seen Cars 2. I don't want to see Cars 2. Although I've seen clips. That movie is way too violent to be rated G. I can tell you that. There's literal murder in Cars 2. But anywho, yeah, Cars 2 was Pixar's first bad movie, like a complete cash grab. And then since then, things have just been not the greatest. I mean, Brave, that was good, but not amazing. That still did really well. You got Monsters University 2013. That, although it wasn't necessary at all, still did extremely well, and it was a decent enough movie. Inside Out was great, and it did great. The Good Dinosaur, disaster. Pixar's first L financially. And then you got Finding Dory, which made $1 billion. Then you got Cars 3, which really underperformed, although it was saved by toy sales, obviously. Yeah, Coco, which did really well. You had Incredibles 2, which is Pixar's biggest movie of all time. Then you got Toy Story 4, which did well. And then you got Onward, which only lasted 2 weeks. Then I already mentioned Soul, Luca, Turning Red, getting booted to Disney Plus. So yeah, things have not been super consistent with Pixar this last decade, ever since Toy Story 3. And that's not super great for Lightyear. So yeah, Pixar's track record after Toy Story 3, not the greatest in the world. So I would label that as a con. Another con is this Thursday previews. It made like 5.2, which apparently included some like Wednesday night shows. I've been seeing this a lot recently, where there's Thursday night previews and then there's like special midweek previews, and they just group those numbers together. I guess so the number can be bigger, more impressive. I know Sonic 2 did this. I know the Batman did this with IMAX showings. I know Top and Maverick did this. I know Jurassic World Dominion did this. I guess this is just a new trend to get a couple more dollars out of a movie. And this number isn't very impressive, especially if we compare it to recent. Well, we can compare it to other Pixar movies. So let's do that. Okay, so because this is a franchise movie, we can really compare it, really only compare it to other franchise movies. That's fair. So you got Toy Story 4, the last Toy Story-esque movie. The last normal release from Pixar. That had a Thursday night debut of, gotta find it here, $12 million. So that's less than half of that. That's not great. Credibles 2. Credibles 2 is Thursday number. Here at 18.5 million. Although, look, Incredibles 2 numbers were never within the realm of possibility. Incredibles 2 was one of the most hyped sequels ever. Like, people wanted a sequel to that so bad. And they definitely showed up to watch it. So, comparing Lightyear to that is pointless. It's just not realistic at all. Now, next we have Cars 3, a movie that I still feel I got bamboozled on, because the trailer sold me when Lightning was just, got like a crash. He's like flying through the air. That sold me on the movie. I never had any interest in Cars 3 until that trailer. Then I watched the movie. I felt robbed. I felt bamboozled. It was trash. But anywho, Cars 3. That had a Thursday debut of 2.8. So this is about close to double that. And that was like 50 something million dollars. So that's good. Then we got Finding Dory. I wouldn't say a highly anticipated sequel, but people were really interested in it. Sequel to Finding Nemo. That had a Thursday debut of 9.2 million. So yeah, it's a little weird. But you know what? might as well just look at some of their original movies too, just so we have an idea. Onward, that was 2 million. Coco, that was Thanksgiving, so that's definitely not a good comparison. But that was, yeah, it doesn't even say great. Good Dinosaur, I don't think it's gonna say anything about that either. But it doesn't hurt to look. 1.3, oof. Well, we definitely won't be seeing a Good Dinosaur situation. Inside Out. Okay, that was 3.7 million, but that was an original movie. So even though Pixar itself is a massive brand, that was an original IP. Lightyear is obviously not. So yeah, it's a little weird, but it doesn't look great in comparison to other Pixar franchise films. So that's a con. It's a con to me, definitely. So there's that. So now I think that's it. I think we covered everything. So, opening weekend. There was talk of this opening with around 100 million because, Pixar movie. It's got that mid-June release that's become famous for Pixar movies. It's based off of Toy Story, their biggest franchise. The most iconic franchise about Buzz Lightyear. Everybody knows who he is. But I was like, I don't know. That's ambitious. And then I see this Thursday preview. I was like, yeah, that's definitely not happening now. So, what will happen? Opening weekend. Let's look at Pixar one more time. One last time. For opening weekends. So this are opening weekends from biggest to smallest. Got 182 for Incredibles 2. That's not realistic at all. We can scratch off all the 100 millions. So no Incredibles 2, no Finding Dory, no Toy Story 4, no Toy Story 3. Inside Out, no. Monsters University, Incredibles, Finding Nemo, maybe somewhere in the 60s. That could happen. That seems possible for Lightyear. Maybe, probably around 50 to 60, I think, is likely for Lightyear. It'll be a tad front loaded because it is based off of the Toy Story brand. There's going to be a little bit of front loading. But look at these numbers. I think its debut is going to be be in between Cars 3 and Cars 2. That's what I'm going with. That's what I think is going to happen. Would not be great at all, but it's a spin-off, so the bar is a lot lower. If this was like a Toy Story 5, then this would be a massive problem, but it's not. So it's like whatever. So yeah, somewhere between 53 and 66 million dollars for opening weekend. And its legs should be good. Yes, there is Minions 2 on the way, but I think it could survive that. Maybe. I mean, although in the past, some of these Pixar movies have gone up against Illumination movies. Toy Story 3 eventually went up against the first Despicable Me movie. Monsters University went up against Despicable Me 2. What else? Inside Out went up against Minions. Cars 3 went up against Despicable Me 3. And now eventually Lightyear is gonna go up against Minions 2. That's an insane coincidence. Like, you cannot make that up. And what you really can't make up is that this summer will be the third battle between dinosaurs and a Pixar movie. Because you had Jurassic World and Inside Out 2015. You got Incredibles 2, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom in 2018. And now you got Dominion and Lightyear 2022. What is up with these coincidences? I don't know. But its total should be looking at the totals here. It'll definitely be one of their lower grossing movies, but I don't think it'll be as bad as A Good Dinosaur. So maybe around 200 million, maybe 180 to 180 to 200. I think is reasonable. And yeah, that's it. So that's gotta go back. Okay, so that's Lightyear. And that's it for the weekend. Like, there's no other movies. This is it. So, yeah. Next next week, I should be done with COVID and it's bullshit. And I'm gonna be doing two movies. I know it's a real change. These past 2 weeks, I had one movie to deal with. Now I have two: The Black Phone and Elvis. So those will be interesting to discuss. So stay tuned for those videos, and then that'll be it for June. Yeah, June wasn't a very crowded month at all. So I don't know what to tell you about that. So yeah, anywho, yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? Got playlists on the homepage with all previous prediction videos I made this year. I've done all the family movies this year, all three of them. Those being Sonic 2, Bad Guys, and of course, how can I forget about Family Camp? So, you want to watch those videos, you can. So go do that. If you want to watch any of the past, there's also the cancel series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. Um, I never did an episode on Lightyear. I guess when the movie was announced, I was in that phase where I would only do cancel episodes if a bunch of movies got delayed at once. Now I've kind of I I've kind of relaxed that rule. So yeah, no cancel episode regarding Lightyear, but I have done cancel episodes about Soul, Luca, Turning Red, and the Disney Plus shenanigans that surrounded them all. I know Turning Red was episode 101. That's the most recent one. So if you want to go watch that, you can go right ahead. And I guess any other Pixar movie that I mentioned. I know Soul was episode 22. I think Luca was episode 50. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, yeah. So if you want to watch those, you can. There's also yeah, no, it's box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. June recap. I've said it once. I've said it many times. I'll say it again. That will come out in between Minions 2 and Thor Love and Thunder. It'll be released in between those movies, so stay tuned for that. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I've done on the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.